And if, for those of you who may have heard a ghost, we have Latasha Thompson, Councilwoman Latasha Thompson is remote, and our town code allows her to call in and that she can't attend the meeting. I believe she's still on the West Coast. Would you like to add anything, Latasha?
Oh, we have to make a grandbaby now.
Grandbaby, congratulations.
Wow.
I didn't want to break the news. I wanted you to do it first. Congratulations. Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of the regular council meeting minutes of October 15th, 2019. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the regular council meeting minutes of October the 15th, 2019 as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion properly made by Mr. Gillespie and seconded by Mr. Holloway to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2019. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next.
Matt Tederick had no intentions of being the town manager. He was solicited by council, arguably had his arm twisted behind his back, and asked him to stay. To stay on a month-to-month basis while we advertise for the town manager that we want and we think this town deserves. The reason for it, as I laid out, was so that we can continue accomplishing what we've already been working on as a solidified, well-gelling council. Nobody was forced to make that decision. The consensus was that this was going to be a good thing for the town, but yet again, we're attacked as if there was some sort of ulterior motive that was happening and some sort of deep-seated corruption that has taken over this town, and that's simply not the case. You don't have to like every decision that a council member or council makes, but I do think that we deserve the respect for the time that's being served in this community daily for every issue that's taken place for council, that each and every one of us aren't considered crooks or trying to do something malicious against the community that we live and work in. I'm always happy to talk about any issue. I am transparent about my opinion, whether you like it or not, and I think that most council members here are, and we want to do the best thing possible for this town. I think that the town manager deserves that respect. I think our mayor, interim mayor, deserves the same respect. And I think every single council member on this council deserves that respect. We are being transparent. Anything you want to know about the decisions that we're making is being shared. There's more that I'd address, but suffice it to say, I wanted to say thank you to our interim mayor for taking the criticisms and, at the consensus of council, be willing to continue the charge that we have set forth.
Thank you, Mr. Meza. Appreciate those kind words. Any other comments from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo Joe. I hate to see you leave, but I know as time comes, it's just something that looks better. Maybe it'd be better for you, and I hope it is. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Tewalt. Anyone else on council?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you to Joe also. I know since I've been here, Joe is the third town manager that I've had the pleasure of working with, and he is by far the most workaholic, energetic. I mean, he's a go-getter, and he's going to be sadly missed. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, Joe, so much for all of the hard work that you do. You really got in there, getting us all acclimated, all of us new people as we came in. Any one of the questions from council, public, whatever, you've always been super responsive. I've never had a complaint or heard a complaint from anybody about you. And I'm really, really thankful for your service, and I sincerely hate to see you go. But good luck in your next adventure.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Any other comments from council? Okay, moving on. It's the report of the interim mayor. I have a lot to do, some of it's ceremonial, but before I get into that, I wanted to address a couple things. Mr. Napier, I think it's important. Ms. Vasquez, Ms. Hart, and I believe Ms. Allen believes that the council may have violated town code. I know that independently we take that very seriously. Are you prepared? Are you able to speak to that as
Yes,
it relates to the appointment of the interim manager?
Yes, I did research that very carefully. The mayor is not a member of town council. That has been addressed, and by the Attorney General, the mayor is not a member of town council. And so that charter provision does not apply.
Thank you. I believe I was also appointed.
You were also appointed, not elected.
Right. So I just think it's critical that the community knows that the council didn't do something underhanded in the dark of night. You can definitely disagree with me serving that role for political reasons or personal reasons or whatever the reason. I completely understand that. But my job as an interim mayor is to defend this council, and the council did not do anything illegal or inappropriate as it relates to that decision. I have other comments I'm going to say regarding Joe and my time as interim mayor, but I want to take a moment and turn to something really positive. We have tonight the luxury of presenting two plaques of recognition. Ms. Berry, you have the first one available to read. We'd like to have Ms. Berry read a resolution that we're going to be voting on during the consent agenda, but I thought it'd be great to have it read right now.
Sure. This is a recognition of service for AirServe heating and air conditioning here in our community. Whereas Neighborly is the world's largest franchisor of home service brands, and AirServe has over 200 locations throughout the United States and Canada. Whereas Raymond, Tina, and Ryan Bramble, owners of AirServe of the Shenandoah Valley, a Neighborly company, earned the Franchisee of the Year award at the Neighborly International Reunion held August 4th through 7th in San Antonio. Whereas the Brambles have operated AirServe since February 2009 and have received multiple awards over the years, including 2014 Franchisee of the Year, Personal Achievement Award in 2012, and the Builders Award in 2015. Whereas the employment of heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration mechanics and installers is projected to grow 13% from 2019 to 2028, much faster than the average of all other occupations, and AirServe provides many local jobs for our community. Whereas HVAC technicians work mostly in homes, schools, hospitals, office buildings, or factories. Their work sites may be very hot or cold because the heating and cooling systems they must repair may not be working properly, and because some parts of these systems are located outdoors, and they typically work in cramped spaces and during irregular hours. Whereas the town truly values and appreciates the importance of AirServe and of the Shenandoah Valley and the tremendous skill set of all the AirServe employees. Whereas the town acknowledges the contributions made to our community by the Bramble family and AirServe of the Shenandoah Valley. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Town Council of Front Royal that AirServe of the Shenandoah Valley is hereby formally recognized for their outstanding dedication to their Front Royal business, their employees, and our community.
Thank you. Wait for some council members.
Okay. Come on up. Okay, thank you, Jacob. Nice job, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Holloway, appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir, appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Let's stand for the photo. You want right there, Tom? Thank you, sir. Oh, but this one, okay. Come on in. We're gonna have to cramp in it.
Gary, you get the front wheels like
Thank you. This is a, let me see, real quick. This is a big deal. Let me tell you why it's such a big deal. Okay? I grew up, like many of you, in a community that was a real small community, handful of businesses. Avtex was the largest provider of jobs. And we in Front Royal and Warren County have grown to have the privilege of having businesses like AirServe winning national awards. And I think it's important that we as a community recognize those kind of achievements. It's a big deal for me personally, and I know it's a big deal for these guys. I know council was real excited to present this to you. Did you want to say anything, Raymond?
Thank you, Mayor Tederick. I just want to say that nothing's prepared, and hopefully we can have a little fun with this, but when we came to this community, believe it or not, we opened right across from the courthouse, and somebody wrote down the window and said, "We don't need your kind here." And I said, "Well, hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate all the help. We can take all the help we can get." And of course, they went down the road, and I went inside and told our staff, and they kind of laughed and said, "Okay, maybe we're not everybody's cup of tea, but it looks like we're a good cup of tea for a lot of people." And it really comes with having great people on our staff. What I have up here with us today is our sales manager, Mr. Jim Dean, our install manager, Mr. Tyler Mays, our service manager, Mr. Donnie Lane, our office lead, Miss Sarah Briggs. Ryan Brown was our operations manager, and my lovely bride she's the boss of everybody. So we all know that.
And that is on record.
Yes. But we wouldn't be here without the people in the town, the county. Most of our business is in Warren County, and they're like, "How can you do that?" With then it was 35, and now we're at 40,000 people in the county. And I said we can do that by taking care of each customer to the best of our ability every single time. No one customer is any more important than the other customer. And it's our core values is to keep whatever core values, but treating others as we'd like to be treated. Never saying anything about anyone would say to him or her, making no agreements we're willing, able, and intend to keep. And so every time we have a meeting, we recite those core values, and that's how our company operates. There's no profanity. There's no, we always like to say there's no plumber smiles. We always like to say that we treat each other with respect, and anybody can call anybody out in our company, and it's been infectious. We're now at about 38 strong. We're looking to go another 40 or so. We keep going, we keep growing this thing. We're busting out of our building, but the amazing thing is that we get to meet and help people every day. We have the ability. The real blessing here is we have the ability to change people's lives by cleaning the air in which they live and breathe. And that's what we strongly believe in, because our homes, not without doing a pitch, but our homes can really be a place where some microorganisms can grow, and I'm going too far about that. But we do have the ability to change people's lives by cleaning their systems up. So thank you very much. It's a great honor to receive this award. We appreciate the town and the county, and we can't wait to see where we're going to be in the next 5 years. Not our company, but this whole entire community. Because, the reality is a very small percentage that has brought a lot of people down, and we have a lot of great people in this community that are going to bring it back up, and we're going to be even bigger and stronger. We all believe that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, hang on, guys. Bill? Hang on.
Thank you, guys. Almost there. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay.
Well, as you've heard already, Joe's leaving us, and we were all very disappointed to hear this news. We have a plaque, Joe, that we'd like to present to you, and I'll read it if you don't mind. In recognition of your talent, vision, and outstanding accomplishments, we wish to honor Joseph E. Waltz for his 14 years of dedicated service in town government, Director of Energy Services from 2005 to 2007, Director of Environmental Services from 2007 to 2008, Director of Energy Services 2008 to 2016, and Town Manager from 2016 to 2019. We extend our deepest appreciation for Mr. Waltz for his dedication to the town. His many contributions to the progress and future of our community leave a permanent legacy. Presented this 8th day of November, I'm sorry, this will be a different time period, but thank you very much. That's what it is.
Latasha, that's the fun.
Yeah. Sorry you couldn't be here, Latasha.
She's going.
Got it on mute.
All day.
Ladies and gentlemen, as interim mayor, I can truly tell you that's the best part of this job, to be able to honor great people and recognize them. And I'm sorry I stumbled on the date, but it's presented the last day of his employment, so it wasn't presented today, so I just wanted to skip over that part. Thank you. Okay, so I'm still in let's see, I did forget one other thing. On next Monday, November 4th, prior to the town council work session from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., citizens and employees are invited to stop by town hall and say goodbye to Joe Waltz, town manager, at our town government center. This will be prior to our work session, which will start promptly at 7. But feel free to stop by if you want, say hello, and pat him on the back and tell him job well done, and look forward to great things in the future. So Joe, we look forward to having that event on the 4th. So I'm still in my report period, and I'm not going to be very long. I did want to say, as the interim mayor, frankly, I never in my life imagined I would be running for office again, or being a part of public service in this capacity. I've said it before when I was asked, and Gary, I've kept your name out of the limelight, but when Gary asked me, I did not want to serve in this capacity, but I did feel a sense of duty to the community with everything that's going on. And I've worked really hard with staff and with council, trying to improve the image of our community, trying to improve communications, trying to improve information flow. There's a whole lot of information. You know, we have hit the ground running. When I had my first meeting with Joe Waltz, the Wednesday after I got elected, I asked him point blank, Joe, what do you need from me as interim mayor? And without skipping a beat, he just said, I need direction. You know, we need direction. And I said, well, I know the council members, they're going to want to work towards giving you that direction. And I'm proud to say that Jake, I agree with your comment that I think council was operating at a very optimal level. You know, we're facing problems head on. In the past, I think there was the tendency of not addressing problems and allowing problems to fester. I can't tell you how often I heard people say, you know, let's get issues resolved for a change. When I first took the position, one of my first acts, I guess, was to request council dilute the power of the mayor. You know, I didn't know this, and you may not have known this, but town code stipulated that the mayor had the discretion, the sole discretion, of adding items on the agenda. So all council members had to go through the mayor to add an item to the agenda. You know, these individuals were elected countywide. They were elected. And I felt strongly that they should have the authority and the ability to add items on the agenda for discussion purposes. And I'm happy to say that unanimously passed. At the first meeting that we held, you know, you look back at the EDA issue, and the state police had been notified in August of 2018 of some possible inappropriate activities at the EDA. So the state police was notified. The EDA director, I believe she's terminated in December of 2018. The civil suit gets filed by the EDA in, I think it was February of 2019. And my first meeting in June of 2019, the town government still had not filed suit against the EDA to reclaim assets that were possibly taken from us. And I'm happy to say that first meeting, we came out of executive session and I think, Mr. Gillespie, I think you read the motion. It was a 2-page motion to file legal proceedings to secure your assets, to secure your money, and get back the money that was taken. And I'm pleased to say that's moving forward. I had another goal of trying to get the Afton Inn moving again. The Afton Inn had been empty. There had been an issue between the contractor and the EDA didn't have the funds to pay for it, and it was just a mess. I'm sad to say that I failed in getting that truly moving forward. And it wasn't from a lack of trying, truly, but I am hopeful. I understand that there may be some motion here soon, but we must do something with that corner of Main Street and Royal. It's the most visible corner in our community. Leaving it the way it is just not acceptable. In the future, I would anticipate the town getting heavily involved and taking some action to do something. I would encourage the next mayor to make that a high priority item. The old town hall, which was swapped for the Afton Inn, it's in a state of slow disrepair. It's deteriorating before our very eyes. That's just not acceptable. And unfortunately, I wasn't able. We were able to conduct an inspection during the last 5 months, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to really get something moving on that. But I do believe in the next several months we might be able to take some action on that. The town budget, finances is so critical when it comes to the town government. I was pleased that the council allowed me to put an audit class. We had an auditor come in and have a class with the council for about an hour. I think that's really important to have so we get a really good understanding of the town budget. Jake, you mentioned the 23 goals and priorities. Mr. Sealock, I can't tell you how many times he mentioned we need to identify our goals and priorities. And I'm really, Joe, the staff did an excellent job. We put a lot of work on staff in the last 5 to 6 months. We have 23 goals and priorities that are now identifiable. And now we as a council can be held accountable. We have completion dates assigned to these priorities. We have staff members assigned to them. And we actually have a champion on council assigned to each goal and priority. And we're slowly moving through them. I mentioned a great idea I received from a lady recently about posting these goals and priorities on the website. I think we're going to look to do that so that the community can actually see and track how well we're doing with that. The joint county meeting and the joint county EDA meetings that took place and the reform committee, man, I was excited that we were finally turning the corner and starting to bring about some communication with these bodies. The current EDA board is a relatively new board, but I thought it was important that council have a role in the reshaping of what that organization is going to look like in the future. I personally think the EDA is insolvent. I personally believe the EDA should seriously consider Chapter 9 bankruptcy so that we can work through this process in a different light. But how that works through, I don't know. I was really disappointed. Let me rephrase that. When the 14 individuals received the criminal indictments, we were advised by council to put a halt on all discussions as it related to the EDA. That was really disappointing to me because I thought we had momentum. I know, Jake, you working on the reform committee, we had momentum, we had some direction, we were getting input from attorneys, staff, etc., and then we had to put a halt on it. If you haven't heard already, the indictments were thrown out of court today. So I would anticipate, I would hope that we can now re-engage in these discussions and start having more joint meetings. I would really like to see our community have a joint town hall meeting. A lot of times we sit here at these meetings and we're on the receiving end. We're advised to be on the receiving end, not to answer too many questions. I think a town hall meeting is essential for this community to start moving forward. So where citizens can sit there and ask their question and people look around the room and try to get an answer then or get an answer to that individual. now that the indictments have been thrown out of court, I think there's that opportunity moving forward. But all in all, it's been a real privilege to serve in this capacity, and something I've never anticipated. And I tell you, to the council members, I have a real high level of respect for these individuals. You know, I look at Gary, and Latasha's not here. You know, you guys don't see what I see behind the dais, but these guys take meticulous notes of every single meeting and by binder. And they sit there and they take great notes, and they're very diligent in what they do. We have historical knowledge, and Chris Holloway, my gosh, historical knowledge. You know, you have the former Public Works Director, Eugene Tewalt. You have a man of great integrity with Bill Sealock and Jake. You know, these guys are doing a great job for the community. It's been a real pleasure and honor to serve with you guys. I appreciate that. Okay, I think, Ms. Berry, is there anything else from the mayor report that I didn't report that I was supposed to?
I think we're good.
Miss Julie, I got your item, right? Okay. Okay, well, let's move on then. Proposals for additions and deletions to the agenda. Any additions or deletions? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve the consent items by Mr. Gillespie, seconded by Mr. Holloway. Any discussion? Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Brandon, that's when you got approved. Okay, now we have something a little unique that we added to the agenda. You know, Mr. Waltz attended a meeting recently and thought it'd be best to have individuals that wanted to speak regarding special events and parking in the downtown area. You know, and I'm glad you did that, Joe. I think it's important that we hear directly from the citizens and downtown merchants about this. And Ms. Berry, how many individuals do we have to sign up?
We have about 7.
Okay, 7 minutes. So we're going to hold about 3 minutes. So who's the first speaker, Ms. Berry?
Jean Fowler.
Jean?
My name is Jean Plogger. I am at 407 East Main Street. And I am bringing to your attention, first of all, I want to state that it's not the events that we want to stop downtown, and I don't want that to start a whirlwind, which is unfortunately what I started over a year ago, because that's not the case here. What we need to have council look at is we're blocking, you pass to close the street twice a month, up to 12 times a year. That's, you pass that. I can deal with that. But it is many other things that are going on down there that are taking up the parking lot. It's not just events. And I would really like council to look at that because it's causing havoc with our business. I've been there 22 years. 22 years, I've done very well in the town of Front Row, and I'm very pleased to say that. But it is now starting even to adjust and hurt my business. And I really want you to look at what's happening, guys. I really do. That's what I'm here to ask. You know, because we have too many things that are going on. Too many things and too many items that are in the gazebo area, period. That when you have an event that's in the gazebo, where do you think those people are parking? They are parking in that one area that's available. When you have people that come to visit our town, they cannot even get into the visitor center. And we're talking about visitors and visitors that are coming here, but they can't even get to the visitor center. So we really need to look, and Joe, I thank you for what you've done so far, and I'm sorry to see you go because you know what's going on. And the council members, we had our last meeting. You guys, none of you were there. I was really disappointed. Apparently, with schedule with your work, you couldn't be. But I really want you guys to address this because we are now going into what, for me, and for what is a busy time for downtown, the Christmas holiday. So that's what I'm asking you to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
Betty Showers.
Betty Showers, 202 East 2nd Street. I've come before you tonight about the events, specifically the parade on Mother's Day weekend. My husband and I both own Due South Florist, and last year it was closed off from 9 o'clock in the morning at 2nd and Commerce, up on Chester Street, over at the beginning of the government center by the post office. For 2 hours, my drivers could not come into the business to get deliveries. They could not get out. My customers could not get in. I'm not asking you to stop the parade, I'm asking you to change the route so that my business can thrive for those 2 hours. Mother's Day, Saturday, is my second busiest day of the whole year. And I had customers complaining because they couldn't get in to pick up their things that they had ordered to pick up to take to their mom that day. And it was just a hardship. So I'm asking you to please change the route.
Ms. Showers, can I ask you a question
Yes.
regarding that? So you're saying the parade is what's causing the hardship?
Because
they're
I was-
blocking traffic from Commerce and 2nd. Okay.
I was closed off at Commerce and 2nd. There was closed off there at Valley Health, so they couldn't come down into my parking lot. And it was closed off at the beginning of the government center over on the side.
Okay.
And I had 2 drivers sitting in the post office asking me, what do? We can't get back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Showers. Barry, who's next?
Jenny Fletcher, I believe it says.
That would be Lisa.
Thank you. Sorry, can't get them all right.
Hello, I'm Jenny Leeser, 208 Virginia Avenue. I also have a travel agency at 216 East Main Street. And I would say that I'm pretty happy with just about everything that goes on. My sole concern is and always will be Main Street and how anything that you guys do throughout town or the county, how it affects Main Street. So for the most part, I have no complaints. Parking's an issue, but we beat that dead horse to death. The one sticking point for me, because I hear about it from my clients over and over again, are the Wednesday afternoon Democrats and Republicans that are shouting across from the gazebo to the corner in front of the pawn shop. And sometimes there's only a small sprinkling of people that show up, but sometimes the crowd is long and hateful. And I've had my clients be subjected to being yelled at on both sides, and it's unnecessary. Visitors that come in have to walk on the other side of the sidewalk so that they don't walk accidentally through that mob. I think that, and I seem to be the only one that feels this way, but I think that political things like that should take place in front of the courthouse, not in the downtown retail area. Okay, I see that everybody's on board with that idea. Well, I bring it up periodically, and nothing's been done yet, but I'm still going to keep asking for help. It's been going on for 3 years now. If they could just move their demonstrations, whatever you want to call it, if they could just move it to a different corner away from the retail sector, that would be great. Joe, you've been great. You're wonderful to deal with, and I'm sorry that you're leaving. I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Jenny.
The Barnharts.
I'm sorry, Jenny, very good. I'm sorry,
About a year ago, we looked into that, and I think Doug could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but being as that is a public area, there was nothing we could do about it.
Oh, I understand that they have every right to be there.
We asked them to move, and we got nowhere. And I just want to let you know that it wasn't for lack of trying.
I understand that. I mean, it's no worse than the guys with the megaphones, screaming to Jesus on Saturdays at the gazebo. It just is disruptive, and I think it portrays us in a weird light. And I want Main Street to be successful. I want the stores filled. I want people back on the sidewalks. And it's what was there when I grew up, and I grew up here. And somehow or the other, we're going to make it happen. But in the meantime, it's the little irritants and the people that are not nice to shoppers, whether they're local or they're from out of town. They hear all these things about Front Royal. They want to come, they want to stroll on Main Street, and somebody's yelling at them about abortion, for crying out loud. It's ugly, and it doesn't need to be out there. And there's got to be someplace else. I know they don't want to move because they can just, it's their right to be there, but I think it would be the decent thing to do.
Doug, can we designate certain areas for demonstrations? Because don't they have to get a permit to demonstrate?
The short answer is it would be difficult for the town to get them to move from the gazebo area, because that is what the Supreme Court of the United States has called the quintessential village square. I can look into it and see if it's possible to craft something, but it's going to be difficult.
Could you look into that? Because we've had a lot of complaints about that, and I agree with her. I've been down here before too, and it does get a little crazy sometimes. And for people to come to our town and see that, I think it's.
I've had employees try to walk down the sidewalk, and people with signs block their passage through there, shoving the sign in their face. And I'm sorry that I wasn't there. I have a short fuse for that kind of thing, and I would have taken the sign out of his hands in a polite way, of course. But I think it's just unreasonable for. Of course, I feel this way about a lot of things, but I think it's unreasonable for people to shove their opinions down everybody else's throat. And I don't want it on Main Street. I don't care where else they go. They can be somebody else's problem. They probably will be, but I would like it not to be on Main Street.
I suspect we could lease the gazebo space to FREBA or to Downtown Business Association for $1 a year, and that would.
I will give you $1 right now.
I mean, that would,
Do something
creative like that.
but then you would remove it from the town's purview, so.
Yeah.
So it'd be $1 plus I would be in charge of all of the upkeep and everything, yeah. Not gonna work.
We'll look at it, thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next, please?
The Barnharts.
Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Tim Barnhart, 120 through 124 East Main Street and 205 East Main Street. We're property owners with 5 properties, and also owners of the Front Royal Brewing Company and managers of the Front Royal Brewing Company.
Okay, so we wanted to address the special events and parking agenda item. And the first thing I wanted to let you know is probably the principal reason we chose to purchase buildings on Main Street is we see Main Street as an immense asset to this town, to its residents and to visitors, and an underutilized asset. So we went there for that reason, to try to turn it around, to try to revitalize it, and to try to create energy. And we think special events are a key way to create that kind of energy and vibrancy and excitement on Main Street. So I'm glad to hear that most people seem to support some level of events, because we certainly do and want you to know that. Our tenants clearly benefit from those events. They get more business traffic, creates excitement, people are happy, so it is a good thing for not just for us, but for our tenants as well. To address the issue of parking, when you have an event and you have more people than normal, parking will be an issue, and it always will be. But in the scheme of things, it's not an insurmountable issue. We think things like signage and clear markings and communication about where else you can park can go a long, long way to fixing that issue. It doesn't have to be an expensive solution. But one idea, one of the reasons we wanted to address you is we did want to share a thought, a suggestion. That is, it's our experience that the special events that happen on Main Street are largely ad hoc, meaning there's not a long-term or comprehensive plan for the year to ensure there's a balanced portfolio of events that fit into the schedule, that can be supported and can be successful. So what we would suggest you think about is creating such a process, which would, first of all, mean establishing very clear criteria of the kinds of events you would want there, then inviting those who want to put on an event to submit a proposal for an event consistent with that criteria, along with a business case for it and a business impact statement, and then go through a process to make sure that the events that do occur there meet your criteria, and that together the whole collection of events represents a portfolio of balance between family-friendly events, or party events or festive events, and really serve the needs of everyone, and allow you to plan in advance for the events, to communicate with all of us and all the businesses so we know what to expect and how to make them successful.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your investment in our community.
Thank
Truly.
you. And I appreciate all of your support, and we're a customer here, so.
Thank you. Terry, you got those ideas, right? You'll
Yes.
put them in the minutes. And
Absolutely.
maybe if you would, can you separate those out in a separate memo?
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
And forgive me, it's Tom, and I don't know how to say your last name, Tom.
Matthew.
I'll let you go. My apologies.
That's all right. My name is Tom Maniello, 111 Glendon Drive here in Front Royal. I'm a homeowner of 16 plus years here in Front Royal, and I am the president of the Hilltown Cruisers, the local car group that put on the cruise-ins at the gazebo. 4 years ago, we were honored to be asked by William and Nina at CMC to help with the Family Fun Day, and it's increased to great levels, and I feel honored to be part of the community where I am now noticed in town, not just an individual walking through the streets. I am now recognized and appreciated. I have people from Maryland, West Virginia, Northern and Southern Virginia coming to the town of Front Royal to come to our events, and they notice all of these shops that are down on Main Street. And I hear great praises from everybody saying, we love this town, we love what you guys do, we will definitely be coming back, and they surely do, month and month. First Saturday of every month, starting in May, going until October. And, sorry, I'm just a little nervous.
That's great.
You know, everybody just really loves our town of Front Royal, and I love bringing the people to the town, and they love the location, and it helps everybody in the area, all the food, all the breweries, all the little shops here in town, and I love that I'm part of this, and I would love to see this continue years on from now on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your comments. Very good, Max, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mayor, thank you for having me. Ms. Latasha, sorry you're not here. Congratulations on your baby. First, I'd like to start off with, my name is William Huck, owner of CNC Frozen Treats at 409 East Main Street. Thank you, Joe. We've had many years of working with each other and the events that are brought to Main Street. Yes, my parade is Mother's Day weekend. Yes, it started out as a thank you to the community for the 1-year celebration that we have in business as a new person not from Front Royal, not from Warren County, to be able to come here and open an ice cream shop. I heard all year long the first year is, wow, I haven't been to Main Street in 5 years. I haven't been to Main Street in 10 years. Main Street's dead. Main Street's dead. Why would you come here? Main Street's thriving right now. I'm going on 5 years of being in business, and this coming year, May the 9th, 2020, will be our 5th year of Family Fun Day. It will be the biggest parade the state of Virginia's ever seen. And I agree, they did block off all 3 entrances. That was not my doing. I asked for the parade route to go a different route when we originally had the parade 2 years ago, and was denied. This was the parade route that was given to us. So you and I, being the interim mayor, interim town manager, will be sitting down and having a discussion later this month, or first part of next month, on how we can grow this and move forward with the events. I also co-sponsor and host the events with the cruise ins every month from June through October. That is my wife and I at C&C Frozen Treats. It does take up parking, but it also brings thousands of dollars into our community on a monthly basis that these people come down. I'm in a retail business, as most of these other personnel out here are in a retail business. We can't do business without the people coming to our community. 5 years ago, I heard that they weren't coming to our community because there's nothing for them to do. Now we're hearing that there's too much for them to do. We want to stop it. Where does the ball stop? I say we need more things controlled. Sure, there needs to be a control figure there. But we need everybody to participate in the growth of our community for what they see. So I propose we shut the street down for the cruise ins instead of just doing it in the gazebo area. Include all of Main Street and do a first Saturday for all businesses to be able to participate if they so choose, as they can for the events that I already put into place. 2 years ago, there was an issue that arose when we did the parade that people didn't like it. So we came to council last year and we remedied it. We came to a solution. I've abided by that solution every single month this year, and that's by only using half of the gazebo area. I provide the porta potties for the events that we do every single month. Do not have a problem. I love this community. From the bottom of my heart, I love this community and want nothing but good for this community. Never once tried to harm a single soul in business or otherwise. And we will thrive, but we have to do it together. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, William. Appreciate your comments.
Kelly Walker.
Mr. Mayor, members of Town Council, thank you for this opportunity. I do want to talk for a moment about the special events closures. For some time, I worked as president of the Chamber of Commerce here, so we worked with town closure for the street quite often for events. At that time, only nonprofits could close the town. I understand that this was changed a couple of years ago, and this is the reason I'm here tonight, is because I wasn't paying attention a couple of years ago to come and speak against that change in the town code. I feel that it's not right for anyone to be able to close the entire Main Street for the benefit of a small group of people. I think anytime the Main Street is totally closed, it should benefit a huge number of people with a huge number of interests, not just one interest. If it's not going to be a nonprofit, if it's going to be a for-profit organization that closes the street, I think they should have a plan to tell how they're going to go about that and where the money's going to go that they make for that closure. 2 times a month to close Main Street is a lot. I have a business on Main Street. I know some people say that closing the street benefits everyone. Not necessarily, because not every business on Main Street is a retail type business. I have people that come from out of town to take classes on Saturdays, and they usually GPS to get here, and then Main Street's closed and they can't find a place to park. They can't figure out how to get around to a place to park. It's very inconvenient for those that come out of town. and the main street's closed 2 weekends in a row. If you're gonna close it, try to scatter it out over the course of the year so that we're not closing 2 or 3 weeks in a row as we do in May to close Main Street. Closure's not necessarily good for everyone. I know it benefits some businesses, but I think we should be able to compromise so that all businesses can benefit from a Main Street. I wanted to also say that the demonstrations, I have people that come all the time from out of town that drive down Main Street on Wednesdays for a class, and they see that, and they come in shaking their head. What's going on around the gazebo? And it's hard to explain what's going on around the gazebo. And I understand freedom of speech. I don't have a problem with freedom of speech. And I understand we have to let people have that freedom. But they don't have to let them have that freedom at the gazebo. There's other places where there can be demonstrations. In front of this building, in front of the courthouse. There's a lot of other public properties that could be used where people can see their demonstration. It does not have to be in the heart of our town where everybody sees it as they're driving in to shop or to participate in events at businesses. So I thank you for the time to hear that. I hope you will reconsider the code that's written and the way it's written so that there are some stipulations on who can close, how often it can close, and who it benefits when we close the entire street. And if you're going to close the entire street, it should be something that will make the entire street filled. Right now, we've closed the street several times, and event only comes about halfway up the street, and there's a part of the street that's closed where nobody ever walks down to that end. So if you don't have something that's going to fill up the entire street, don't close the entire street. Take a look at how that works. And I too would like to say, Joe, good luck to you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I appreciate how you listen to our grievances and don't just kind of blow us off and say, okay, I'll take that back. But you actually do come back to us with solutions, and I do appreciate all that you've done the years here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Is there any other comments?
Mr. Keys?
Hi, my name is Roger Keys. I live at 1454 Lakeview Drive. First of all, Joe, thank you very much. We've had a few dealings and it's been great. I had an occasion last week to go down on Main Street and try to conduct some business. Pulled into the gazebo and I couldn't find a parking spot because most of it was blocked off for an event. But as a taxpayer and a voter, I own part of that lot. And I'll be doggone, I'm getting a little tired of when I want to come downtown, I can't park on property that I pay for because something's going on. And I've heard, and Bill, I love your ice cream and all that kind of stuff. And I agree, you need to be able to be functional on Main Street, but during normal business hours, it should be open for business. Things at nighttime or after 6 o'clock or on Sundays when most businesses in there are closed. Excuse me. I have no problem. And on special occasions, yeah, fine. But for normal business days and hours, there shouldn't be anybody in there closing off the parking that it's designed to be. And if you want a suggestion for that, then tear down, make a parking lot out of it. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keys. Good comments.
That was the last.
That was it? Just curious, completely off the cuff, how many support closing Main Street permanently? Raise your hand.
To traffic or to walking traffic?
Just walking.
Traffic. I'm just curious. Joe, I think we're going to put this on a future work session. I know the 4th is going to be pretty busy, but I think we need to perhaps get this on the second work session in November. Is that possible? Just to have a continued discussion on this, these matters?
Yes, that's possible and recommended.
Okay, you'd recommend that as well? Let's see. I think, so on that work session, it would be the gazebo events the political demonstrations. It would be the parade route discussion, and then as well as the, I guess events in general, the number of events, those 3 items.
Okay.
Council good with that?
Mhm.
Hey, thank all of you for coming out. That, you know, it's not an easy job. You know, it's not an easy thing to try to figure out. I do believe there's a solution. I don't know that we have the right one yet. I think we've got some really good feedback tonight, and we can use that as a baseline for our work session in November, and we'll probably have a follow-on work session in December, and hopefully we'll get this right here pretty soon. But I appreciate all of you coming out and sharing your thoughts as it relates to this. Okay, next on the agenda. Sounds like 8. Y'all care to leave. Council approval for an ordinance to adopt and reenact section 180-181 to grant a franchise agreement for cable television to Comcast of California, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia. This is the second reading. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council adopt on its second and final reading an ordinance to adopt and reenact section 180-181 of the town code to grant a franchise agreement for cable television Comcast, California, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, LLC as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion properly made by Mr. Holloway, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion? Ms. Berry, do we need a roll call?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Mr. Napier?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what
Do
you
we need a
said.
roll call,
A roll
Mr. Napier, on these? Can I just do a voice vote?
It is an ordinance.
I would do a roll.
Do one for an ordinance, yes. Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion, or that carries. Next on the agenda is an ordinance to adopt and enact 180-182 to grant a franchise agreement for cable television for Shenandoah Cable Television, LLC, second reading. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council adopt on its second and final reading an ordinance to adopt and reenact section 180-182 of the town code to grant a franchise agreement to the cable TV to the Shenandoah Cable TV Inc. as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion properly made by Mr. Tewalt, seconded by Mr. Holloway. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I've been waiting to comment on this, and I would like to thank Comcast for their numerous years of service in our community, and I would also like to welcome Chantel to our community as well. And it is my opinion, this is a win-win for our citizens in our community, having the choice of cable and internet providers to find the right fit for their household. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. Any other comments?
Hopefully cheaper rates.
Okay, Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a budget amendment for fairground water tank rehabilitation. I entertain a motion. Item 12. I'm sorry, excuse me, thank you. Item 11, rather, subdivision plan, final plats and agreement for Happy Creek Knolls, section 4 of Chris Ramsey. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council approve the subdivision plan, final plats, and a bond and maintenance agreement for 33 single-family detached residential building lots within the R1 zoning district titled as Happy Creek Knolls, section 4, located at the end of Ewell Street and the end of Happy Ridge Drive, in an open space lot with a stormwater management pond and pump station.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion that's been properly made by Mr. Meza, seconded by Mr. Holloway. Any discussion?
Yes, I think the last two words should not be there, pump station. I think Mr. Ramsey said that would be deleted and be run by gravity.
You did say that. Correct.
I'd like to have it
I
strictly
can
as
amend.
possible.
Would you like to ask for an amendment? Mr. Napier, is it necessary to get a formal vote for an amendment after a motion's been made and seconded, or can I ask the individual who made the motion and seconded the motion if they would adopt that friendly amendment?
You can do that.
Mr. President, would you care to remove those last
Ewell
two
Street
words?
and the end of Happy Ridge Drive, and an open space lot with a stormwater management pond.
Mr. Holloway, you okay with that? Okay. Any other discussion, Mr. Tewalt? Mr. Meza?
Just want to say thank you to Mr. Ramsey for moving forward on this. I'm personally excited to see this development proceed. I think it's going to be really nice to connect Happy Ridge Drive and Eagle Street, especially as there's looking forward to future development along Leech Run. I think this will be a nice conclusion to the development up in that area, so thank you.
Okay, Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is item 12, which is a budget amendment for fairground water tank rehabilitation. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council approve the award of $105,000. Oh, I got the wrong motion, Mr. Mayor.
That's all right. No worries.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I move the council. Mr. Mayor, I move the council approve a budget amendment in the amount of $532,625 to utilize funds from the Water Fund Balance Reserve to allow for completion of the Fairground Road water tank rehabilitation.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion properly made by Mr. Gillespie, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Fairground Water Tank Rehabilitation Administration/Inspection Award. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council approve the award of $105,000 to CHA Consulting for the interior $40,000 and exterior $65,000 administration and inspection of the Fairground Road water tank rehabilitation project.
Second.
We have a motion that's properly made by Mr. Holloway, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Fairground Water Tank Rehabilitation Project Award.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council approve the award of $887,700 to the Utility Service Company Incorporated for the Fairgrounds Road water tank rehabilitation project.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion properly made by Mr. Holloway, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson? And Councilman Thompson? Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. The last item before the closed meeting is a formal request to the Warren County Board of Supervisors to consider a boundary adjustment for property on Guard Hill Road owned by Chris Ramsey. Did I do that, Ms. 14? I'm done.
Mr. Mayor, I move the council direct the town manager to send a letter of formal request on behalf of the town council for the town of Front Royal, Warren County corporate boundary line adjustment of 20.2206 acres to facilitate Mr. Ramsey's request as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that's properly made by Mr. Holloway, seconded by Mr. Meza. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. They've already brought this up one time and denied it, so why do we want to ask them again to do it again?
We actually need Mr. Tewalt. I believe the reason is we discussed it in the work session. I think the consensus of the work session was to ask the county board of supervisors again. I mean, they can deny it again. I don't disagree.
I don't think we've asked before.
Not this body.
Yeah, no, not this body hasn't asked. I think it was just Mr. Ramsey that had asked them, and they weren't asked by the town council in previous council.
Was it, Mr. Ramsey, was it a formal request that, to your knowledge, that they denied?
Yes, I made a formal request
And
of
they denied
the town and of the county. The county denied it. The town is yet to take action on that, actually.
That is correct, because we heard that the county denied it, so then the thought was, at that council at the time, was why make the request if we know the county's going to decline it? So this was talked about in our last work session to make the formal request from town, considering the fact that the utilities are right there adjacent to the property for Mr. Ramsey to utilize. and it seemingly serves no purpose for that to be considered part of the county, where they'd be subject to the pilot fees or double the town water rates, when we can do a friendly boundary adjustment and avoid that for the development of that project.
Okay, any further discussion? Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie.
Yes.
Councilman Holloway.
Yes.
Councilman Meza.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock.
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt.
No.
Councilman Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is a closed meeting. I'd entertain a motion.
Just a quick point of clarification before the motion. Does this include, and I'm sorry I didn't see this beforehand, does it include number 4?
That's not needed. Mr. Nathan's it's covered over here.
Okay.
Or 2. It's covered in 2.
All right, I apologize.
He sent a clarifying email 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before meeting.
Okay.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the town council convene and go into closed meeting for, number 1, the consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body pursuant to section 2.2-3711.A.7 of the Code of Virginia. Number 2, discussion of consultation of performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the town council pursuant to section 2.2-3711.A.1 of the Code of Virginia. And number 3, to discuss the disposition of publicly held real property, specifically the sale or vacation of town right-of-way, being the entire approximately 12-foot 5-inch alleyway between 303 and 311 Brown Avenue in the town of Front Royal, Virginia, as shown on the plat prepared by Joseph G. Rogan, Sr., CLS, dated March 25th, 1987, a copy of which is on file in the office of the town manager of the town of Front Royal, Virginia, pursuant to section 2.2-3711.A.3, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining, positioning, or negotiating strategy of town council.
Second.
Motion's been properly made by Mr. Meza, seconded by Mr. Holloway. In discussion? Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie.
Yes.
Councilman Holloway.
Yes.
Councilman Meza.
Yes.
Councilman Sealock.
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt.
Yes.
And Councilman Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. And to the public and to the press, there may be announcements after this. If you care to stay around, you're welcome to stay. We typically go into this caucus room. I would anticipate maybe 20, 30 minutes max. Thank you. We're going to go to the caucus. Thank you. Got everybody? Okay, I entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I move the town council certify to the best of each member's knowledge, as recognized by each council member's affirmative vote, that only such public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements of the Virginia Federal of Information Act, as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, discussed, or considered in closed meeting by council, and that the vote of each individual member of council be taken by roll call and recorded and included in the minutes of the meeting of town council.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion properly made by Mr. Meza and seconded by Mr. Holloway. Any discussion? Ms. Berry, roll call, please.
Councilman Gillespie.
Yes.
Councilman Holloway.
Yes.
Councilman Meza.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock.
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt.
Yes.
Councilman Thompson.
Yes.
And Mayor Tederick.
Yes, ma'am. Members of council, I'm going to step down now as the mayor of the proceeding. I'm going to turn the gavel over to Vice Mayor Bill Sealock.
Okay, council, I need a retainer agreement for legal services for the town of Front Royal.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I move that town council accept the retainer agreement for the legal services of the law firm Damiani Damiani, PC, with respect of the town's lawsuit against the Economic Development Authority.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Holloway and a second by Mr. Meza for the motion to go forward. Ms. Berry, would you give me roll call, please?
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
No.
And Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
On the second item for the night, I need a motion for the agreement of services for the interim town manager.
Mr. Vice Mayor, I move that town council accept the agreement of services for the interim town manager.
Councilman Meza, would you be agreeable to adding to that motion, that motion would be effective upon the day after the effective date of the resignation of Joe Walsh as town manager?
Yes.
I should have added that to the motion.
I move the town council accept the, so let me amend it. I move the town council accept the agreement of service of the interim manager with an effective date the following day of resignation of our current town manager, Joe Waltz.
Okay, I have a motion, I now need a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion presented by Mr. Meza, and I have a duly given second by Mr. Holloway. Ms. Barry, would you give roll call, please?
Councilman Gillespie?
Yes.
Councilman Holloway?
Yes.
Councilman Meza?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sealock?
Yes.
Councilman Tewalt?
No.
Councilman Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I got the motion to adjourn, I got the second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.